Hello and welcome to the Unusual Fruit Garden. So today I'm going to be planting my Tayberry bushes. Now these are the Buckingham variety of Tayberry, so they're going to be a thornless bush once they start growing. The Tayberry is a cross between a blackberry and a raspberry. It produces fruits that resemble more blackberries in colour once they're ripened, but they taste so much more sweeter. They're generally larger as well. They're just not grown commercially because once the fruits are ripe, they are just so juicy and tender they can't be cultivated commercially because they just basically burst once they are picked. There is a farm in France that have just started cultivating them, but that's just to make more of a coulis and a ice cream, because even when they're picking them it just all gets pulverised down. But if you're actually able to sample the actual Tayberries, the fruits themselves, they're absolutely delicious. I found a Tayberry bush at work this year, and that's what inspired me to actually create a fruit garden in my back garden, specifically just so I could grow Tayberries. But after then I've also gone on to select all sorts of different things as well. But today is going to be getting the Tayberries in the ground. Now these are going into a planter. It's a 1.2 metre long planter, and they're going to be spaced probably about 60 centimetres apart. Now if you're planting these in the ground, you would need to dig out a hole twice as big as the pot that they come in, but because I've just filled all of these planters with topsoil and compost, it's all still loose, it hasn't had a chance to compact down, so I'm just going to be digging out a big enough hole just to get these in, then I'm going to be filling around it. Now because the planters are already quite full, I'm just going to be emptying this topsoil and compost just into a bucket, just so it's nice and easy and I'm not getting loads of soil all over the floor. Once they're all bedded in, I'll be emptying that soil and compost back in, making sure they've got a good bedding and a good watering in. So I'm going to crack on and get these planted in, and we'll see what they look like once they're all in the beds. Right, so that's the hole dug for the first one. As I say, if you were planting these into the ground, you would need to dig a far bigger hole than what I've dug here, but because this is all nice and loose, as I say, this has literally only just been filled into the planters yesterday and today, so it hasn't had a chance to compact down. So that's filled the hole nicely there, so I'm just going to empty that out, get it in, get it bedded in, do the same on the other one. Now because when these actually came delivered, they were delivered just in smaller pots. They were put into these bigger pots just as a temporary measure until I had my planters made up. So because of that, the Tayberry bushes haven't had a chance to create a firm root ball in these bigger pots. So when I'm going to start taking it out, the soil is going to fall away and fall around away from the actual root ball itself, but I'm not concerned about that. The roots are still going to be nicely bedded in, and then it's all going to be filled in and filled on top. So time to get them all out the pots and into the ground. Right, so there's the first Tayberry, nicely planted and bedded in. That's not going anywhere now. It's been built up even higher than what it was in the pot. I can still see the label, I can still see the new growth as well, so it's all still fine. And as you can see, there's plenty of new growth still about to start shooting off it as well. Now the Tayberries grow like raspberries in that they'll produce wood, which will then produce fruit the following year, so I'm not expecting any fruit off these this year. This is going to be more a year of getting the plants themselves established in the beds and producing out the woods that again next year should then produce the fruit. So that's one bedded in, so now I'm just going to start digging out the hole and get the other one in. There we go, that is my 2 Tayberry Buckingham plants, all planted up. It's planted in a mixture of topsoil, compost and topsoil in a sort of lasagna layer. So I'm just going to have to see how they progress now. So as I say, subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be documenting the progress of all of the fruits and berries that I'm planting throughout my garden this year. So we're going to see exactly how well the Tayberry produces, see how much wood it kicks off this year, see how much fruit it produces next year, and then as I say, once the fruit does arrive as well, it's absolutely lovely fruit. So I do highly recommend the Tayberries for anybody wanting some fruit gardens at home. So as I say, subscribe below, please rate the video as well if you found it useful, and let's follow along and see how the Tayberry progresses. Thanks for watching, cheers.